How the heck are you guys? I'm Fastidious. Welcome to a guide and a breakdown and a comparison video for Dr. Van Helsing, the new AoE marksman to enter Watcher of Realms. At the time of filming this, his banner is going live tomorrow. It is one of the strongest banners we've ever seen because this guy right here is very good and you get to choose whom he is paired with on this banner for 20x. At the time of filming, there are 76 normal non-Lord legendaries to choose from. These are all the non-Lord legendary heroes that are not event exclusive and are not ancient exclusive. These 76 do include some of the best legendaries in the entire game, some of the best heroes in the entire game, and you get to choose who goes with Van Helsing. So in this guide, I want to show why Dr. Van Helsing himself is also a prize on this banner. And if you're watching this in the future, I want to teach you a little bit about Dr. Van Helsing. We're going to start with a kit breakdown, going through his kit, base stats, skills, awakenings, stuff like that. I am going to go pretty fast though. If you want a slightly more in-depth look into every single skill, every single word, I do have a big breakdown video here where I discuss every skill in detail for all 4 of the Dracula collaboration units. Here I just want to refresh your memory and highlight the things in his kit that will make him so strong when we do our comparison. So what is that? Well, I have footage, and a big shout out to Behemoth who helped me set up this testing and come up with the idea where I'm putting him head to head, first against Kai, then against Nyx. This is A0 testing, so you don't need any extra copies. It is going to be A0 Dr. Van Helsing versus A0 Kai, and then A0 Dr. Van Helsing versus A0 Nyx. For the testing, and this is where Behemoth really helped me with this idea, I am going to use the Spellbane mode of the Matrix boss. Yes, all 3 of these units can be used in Matrix if you're running a Piercer comp especially, but frankly, Matrix is a great dummy to test things out when you want to do AoE testing. So you'll see in the footage I prepared, I'm going to intentionally stop the runs at certain points so I can just have a clean head-to-head. It is also a perfectly mirrored fight, so if you want to go head-to-head, so you can see how fast the unit on the left, in this case Dr. Van Helsing, is killing the mobs on the left, and you can see how fast the unit on the right, in this case Kai or later on Nyx, is killing the mobs on the right. It's like a perfect head-to-head. It's a really good testing ground, and I think you guys are going to be very surprised, because too long don't watch, he's really good. At A0, I think he probably is the best AoE marksman in the game right now. It is worth mentioning, Nyx scales phenomenally well with awakenings, and Dr. Van Helsing is going to be very hard to get awakenings for. That being said, even at A0, I think he could hold a candle to Nyx. It's a very unique kit, and it's the kind of kit that's going to scale very well as they keep trying to make harder and harder content. Because when they try to make harder content, they increase defense and magic resistance, stuff like that, right? Because with Dr. Van Helsing, he has penetration already at A0 built right into his ultimate, so he's ignoring a nice chunk of defense. It goes up to 30% when you skill him up. And he has Execute built into his kit. It's a super rare skill, right? When you think of Execute, you think of like Nezah and Virna, Uridin, Ezerith, not many examples. I'm pretty sure, maybe I'm forgetting one unit, let me know in the comments if I am, but I'm pretty sure he's the first ever Execute unit that is a platform and deals physical damage. So yes, we have like Nezah, who's a physical DPS that does Execute, but this is a platformer, very unique, and he has a very, very good typing. So let's move into his actual kit now, but I just wanted to get that out of the way because yes, part of the reason this banner is so flippin' hype is because it's 17 days long. You can get this event exclusive who's good, Dr. Van Helsing, and then you get to choose your legendary. So you're picking your Numera or your Hotsit or your Ireless or your Aelin or your Draelin or so on and so on. You get it. You guys probably have ideas. If you don't and you're watching this the day this comes out, tomorrow I'm going to rate all 76 of those guys, all 76 of your options. So look forward to that. However, I think because it's so exciting to choose your own unit, people are not as focused as they should be on how freaking good Dr. Van Helsing is. So let us begin. You heard me talk about his typing. I was starting to get into his dual faction membership. Let's discuss that now. Yes, he's an AoE marksman, so surprise, surprise, he is going to be a Starpiercer. That kind of checks out. That's why it's a really cool comparison to go head-to-head with Nyx and Kai, who I think would be considered the best AoE marksman in the game, certainly from the Piercers. They're top choices for tons of content like Gear Aid 3, Furious Torrent, so on and so on. But also, he is a Nightmare unit, and he is now only the 4th marksman in the entire Nightmare Council faction. And he's the first one that is a full AoE DPS, right? He has that big AoE marksman range. Let's bring him to full promotion so you can see that. The 3x4 at the extra spot. The big range on the ultimate. If you run him with a Piercer Lord, this gets even bigger. He's a true AoE DPS. He's a true AoE piercing damage marksman. The other 3 we have in the game right now at the time of filming are Hotsit. She's got some nice AoE bursts, but a limited range, obviously phenomenal. We've got Yuri, who has burst, and she deals so much damage she bounces around. It can feel like AoE, but it's not. She has little AoE splashes, but not proper AoE. And then, of course, we have Ryzen, who is just straight up single target. So in that aspect, he's really unique too. So he's a great addition to that faction, depending on what content we get that we're going to use Nightmare units for in the future. I just really like him. I really do like him, if that's not clear. Before we go to the kit very quickly, let's just show the base stats. They're very standard, almost exactly 4,000 attack, on the higher end for a marksman, but actually very standard for an AoE marksman. This is really similar to a Kai, a Razak, a Nyx. All the other things are very standard. 3.5 second attack interval, very standard for the AoE marksman. They're a little bit slower. Rage Regen autos 14. It's all pretty par for the course. So if we look at this kit now, let's start with the talent. A key mechanism in his kit is called Mithril Bolts. Every time he loads up 12 Mithril Bolts, he's gonna do this special attack, where he fires all of those Mithril Bolts. They don't deal so much damage, but each one is going to inflict Mithril Shrapnel. And this is the star mechanic of his kit. So it's kind of like a mark, a debuff, a thing, a trap, whatever you want to think of it as, that he puts out on the enemy targets, and it has a duration of 5 seconds. So whenever he deals damage with either his giant axe, which we'll discuss when we get into the passives, or any basic attack, and he's hitting a unit that he's placed Mithril Shrapnel upon, he has a 30% chance to blow that up and deal 150% AoE damage to up to 5 nearby targets. And he's putting this out on everyone, and his hits are hitting many units at a time. So even though it's only 30%, and that rate can go up in certain situations that we'll discuss, but even though it's only 30%, because there's so many locations that have the shrapnel that he can hit, you're gonna be really surprised when you see the footage how he's just blowing everything up. It's very good, and it's actually very reliable. If we go back now to those Mithril Bolts, how does he load them up so he can get to 12 so he can shoot them? And by the way, when he does shoot them, a very cool thing, he is going to prioritize targeting units not currently under Mithril Shrapnel. So he's making it a key thing that he's gonna try to have Mithril Shrapnel on as many enemies as possible, which is great for us. So every time he does a basic attack, which is a separate thing, but every time he does his basic attack, which is some nice physical piercing damage, hits 5 enemy units, and remember, if he was fully skilled out, built out, this would be the range. Every time he does that, he is going to load up 4 Mithril Bolts. So every 3 basic attacks, he'll have 12 bolts. And when he has 12 bolts, he triggers that special attack where he fires them all. He puts out the Mithril Shrapnel, all that targeting. Additionally, anyone he puts Mithril Shrapnel on is going to be under physical damage vulnerability, and it's 20%. So it's a pretty strong AoE. It's a pretty strong increased physical damage taken. So I know it's confusing because he has these like key features in his kit that we're not familiar with, but I hope that made sense. If you have follow-up questions, let me know in the comment section below. It does get a lot better though. So like I said, when he ults, and he's got a good long ult, he gets penetration. So when this is activated and it's at max skill ups, everything I discuss is gonna be at max skill ups. This is gonna be 25 seconds. It's gonna be 900 cost, which is on the cheaper side for a big AoE move. Not super cheap, but it's very reasonable. 700 initial cost. He's gonna get penetration up to 30% with skill ups for that entire duration. Also, right when he ults, he's gonna separately trigger another talent special attack. So he's gonna come in with that 12x hitter, shooting out all those Mithril Bolts, dealing a little bit of damage, and putting out a lot of Mithril Shrapnel. The final part though, and this is key, during his ultimate, the chance for the giant axe attacks to ignite the Mithril Shrapnel is 100%. It says 60 here, but with skill ups, it goes plus 20, plus 20. This goes to a guarantee. Now you heard that mentioned before when I talked about the Mithril Shrapnel, that this could be triggered with a 30% chance from both basic attacks and the giant axe. I know we haven't shown the giant axe yet. That's going to be this passive over here, but it is really, really clutch that it goes up to a 100% chance for 25 seconds when you max out this ult skills. And that is key. So let's get to the giant axe now. It comes from this passive, Keen Insight. After each talent special attack is triggered, so every 3 basics, right? When you're getting all those Mithril Bolts out, he's gonna get an additional giant axe attack that he triggers as well. So basically every 3 basics, if you're gonna build him, let's just call it with a 2.0 second attack interval. Many people can build him faster, but I think that's reasonable. Every 6 seconds he's doing this. Is big AoE damage. It goes up to 600% with skill ups. He's hitting 8 targets and he's throwing it as far as he can. He's targeting first the farthest most unit in his attack range. When you're ulting, he has a 100% chance to blow up that shrapnel. When you're not, it's a 30% chance. So this all does get a little better once you have his exclusive artifact. If he is available to you, whether you're watching this right now during the first ever Dracula collaboration event, or if they rerun this in the future, it means the Dracula's Castle shop is open, and in that shop, you can get his exclusive artifact. And this is definitively his best in slot artifact, and it is relevant to his kit. So it's going to increase his damage by 15%. This does scale up with promotions, so as you get dupe copies, you can deal more increased damage. But the key thing, the reason it's his best in slot, during the ultimate, he will reload 4 Mithril Bolts when he launches the giant axe attack. So now all the math changes, right? Every time he has 12 bolts, he is going to launch an axe. At the same time, every time he has 12 bolts, he is going to shoot all 12 bolts. So what this means is whenever he hits 12, he's gonna shoot all 12, which triggers the throwing of the axe, which means if you have his exclusive artifact, he's gonna get 4 back. So actually, every time you shoot 12 and you go back for your next basic attack after that, he already has 4 waiting. So that condition I talked about where I said it takes 3 basic attacks to trigger the big 12x hit that puts out all the very, very important Mithril Shrapnel, it's actually every 2 basics, right? Because you're starting with 4 every time if you have that exclusive artifact, and then you just need 1 more to go to 8, and then that second one is already gonna bring you to 12. So this leads to a lot more axes, a lot more damage, a lot more Mithril Shrapnel. Very, very good stuff. The final passive, Flame and Fury. The giant axe attacks, and this is why you really want to spam out those giant axes. They're so important to the kit. Those are what come with the execute ability. So with skill ups, the threshold here goes up to 20%. So any units besides bosses and elites that it's going to hit that have under 20% HP will just instantly disappear. They will be executed, they will die. If you've ever used Nezah or Virna or someone like that, you're familiar with the mechanic. Anytime he kills an enemy with giant axe attacks and Mithril Shrapnel blast damage, so either of those, he will restore rage to himself, and with skill ups it goes to 50 rage. So he can ult cycle pretty dang fast. And this is very clutch. And again, it's another reason why you just want to spam those giant axes. This is why his exclusive artifact is so good. So if you get him, make it a priority to get at least 1 copy of his exclusive artifact. He's a really good unit, guys, and you're gonna see it in like 2 seconds when we hop over here, but we have to wrap up with the awakenings. And to me, this might be the best part. He has good awakenings, but he's not like Nyx, who is very good at A0, but has such strong awakenings, you're always in pursuit of her A5. He's already out of the box really good at A0. Even if you just get the 1 copy, you're gonna be cooking with gas for the vast, vast majority of content in this game. The A1. When any enemies take Mithril Shrapnel blast damage consecutively within 5 seconds, Mithril Shrapnel blast damage dealt to them will be increased by 20%. This one's all right, but it's not all damage. It's just the blast damage. It's a boost, but it's not nearly the boost you think it is. It will lead to a single-digit % increase in his damage over the course of a long battle. It's a nice to have, it is not a necessity. That's pretty good. Also, I gotta say, Mithril Shrapnel blast damage and uptime on the debuff is so much higher with the exclusive artifact as well, because basically every 2 basics, you have a chance to reapply. So if you build him even on the slower side, it wouldn't be that slow, but a 2.0 second attack interval, once you gear him out, every 4 seconds you're reapplying, 5-second uptime, you get it. Really, really good debuffing. Please get the exclusive artifact. The A2 plus 300 attack, very standard. That brings him up to 4,299, which is very solid. A3, this is great, but again, it's not like insane, right? It's if you can get it, cool, but 5 additional seconds on the ult. The ult is already 25 seconds with max skill ups. This brings it to 30 seconds, so it's lasting 20% longer. Yeah, if you can get it, it's awesome. but it's not so crazy, right? This is what Nyx gets at A1. So his is hidden behind A3. I know it sounds like I'm underselling these awakenings. They're good, but I'm trying to get you guys excited about the fact that you don't need awakenings. A4, all damage is increased by 8% from any source of the damage he can deal. And finally, A5. The A5 is very good, but you're going to need 6 copies or use some soul stones. So this is the one that's really awesome, but it is kind of hidden away. And even still, it's not like you quote unquote need it. Unless he starts becoming hyper relevant for some kind of PvP content. But during the ultimate, his attack interval will be reduced by 30%. So let's keep using that 2.0 second attack interval that we're saying you built upon him. This means when he's ulting for those 25 seconds, or once you have him A5, it's going to be 30 seconds. He's going to be having an attack interval of 1.4 seconds. A lot more axes, a lot more bolts. It is nice. And more damage during that period where you have the increased penetration. It's a heck of a kit. Over the past 24 hours or so, I've become a big fan of Dr. Van Helsing. So let me tell you why. Let me show you this footage now. I'm going to stop at the beginning here on this freeze frame so you can see the gear being used in this video. The gear Kai is wearing right now is exactly the gear that will go to Nyx, and Dr. Van Helsing will wear the same gear the whole time. So all 3 units and both tested units in each run, because we're doing 2 at a time, they are all going to be in the same sets. Wicked Vengeance on the left and Soulbound Arcana on the right. I tried to make it as close as possible in stats. If you look at the stats here, these are Kai's stats, and then the difference in green or red is the plus or minus compared to Van Helsing. So you can see these are Kai's stats, just under 17k attack. Van Helsing has literally 10 more attack. It's nothing. Attack speed, Kai is at 399, Van Helsing's at 390, 9 less. They're both crit capped. And then for crit damage, Kai is at 310.5%, Van Helsing is at 313%, only 2.5% more. Everything else is identical, and here I'm saying Kai, but when you see the Nyx test directly after that, Nyx is getting exactly Kai's gear. So this is a full A0 head-to-head. Let's get into it. You'll see the setup, and then frankly, this isn't that much footage. I've sped up different parts. All in all, it's 3 minutes and 58 seconds. I'm just gonna let it run and explain. You can see the units we're bringing here. I will not deploy Yovar. I will not deploy Leia. Everyone else there is just for support. Ezran's there to be a tank, so our DPS don't get targeted, and we're only bringing 2 DPS. We're not deploying Yovar. So it's just on the left, Dr. Van Helsing dealing damage, and on the right, Kai. And it's perfectly mirrored, the mobs that are coming out. So it's a really nice head-to-head. So here you go. I sped up the deploy here so it goes a little faster. We got Kai on the right on this tile, pointing right. Van Helsing doing the exact same thing here, pointed left, perfectly mirrored. Here come the units, and you'll see they come out together, right? It's exactly the same. And this is the good first test. So I'm just gonna tell you, sorry, spoilers, but you're about to find out in 10 seconds. Van Helsing does much better than Kai here. That's not to say in all content he's gonna be better than Kai, because Kai's passive is so powerful. It has a support function where it's boosting all marksman damage, not even piercers, just all marksman. So that's why Kai is used in so much endgame content, because he's good enough, right? But you'll see, this run is going to be shorter. I'm not going to test it as long as the Nyx run, because Kai actually can't even keep up with Van Helsing, and that's going to become clear pretty soon. The actual damage numbers I show at the end, fairly irrelevant, because there's literally only so much damage to be dealt, since we're limited by the number of units coming out. You can kill them, you can't like double kill them, right? But you'll see Van Helsing, when he's ulting, he just starts shredding through this. There are all the shrapnel. There's the big axe. Those guys are gone. It's pretty crazy stuff. Kai, he's doing it, but this is just the first wave, and already he's significantly slower. So it's more of like a speed test, and you can just see the numbers that are popping up. You'll see at the end, this one isn't close. The Nyx one, they can both do it. That's kind of the takeaway. But Van Helsing is faster. You know, he is slightly better for sure, if not more than slightly, frankly. Also, if you're wondering, they're all in maxed out artifacts. Kai has a maxed out sharpshooter gaze, then Nyx has a maxed out exclusive for her, and then, of course, Van Helsing has his maxed out exclusive. But now that we're on the second wave here, we're already up to chain fission because Kai wasn't killing fast enough. You're going to see the lead, the difference, right? We are taking care of it on the left. We are not taking care of it on the right. In Kai's defense, this is not exactly what he's built for, but there we go. We get wiped. The chain fission was triggered. So this was just a quick little head-to-head. So for anyone wondering, is he at least as good as Kai? The answer, absolutely for sure. Even A5 Kai, he's going to be stronger than. At A0, so that's really strong. Here you can see He was doing what? We're talking a little more than 50% more damage. He also was faster. Granted, it was just because Kai couldn't keep up, but the big takeaway is Kai couldn't keep up, right? Let's go to the more fair test. So A0 Kai versus A0 Van Helsing, slam dunk for Van Helsing. Now you'll see with Nyx, same kind of setup here. I just moved the gear from Kai to Nyx. Give me the same exact deploy pattern and everything. We're gonna leave Leia and Yover on the bench. Still Van Helsing on the left, but we're gonna put Nyx on the right. Ezra into tank. Ireless, Smiley, Aelin. We really don't care about putting up like a great score. We just want to have a nice run and see what kind of damage we can deal. So let's try to trigger both those ults. I get them going at the same time. And you can see already, if you're talking about burst and speed of how you deal the damage, look at these health numbers compared to this. Yes, Nyx is like kind of like a basic revved up attacker. She's got a very, very long ult, especially with Awakenings. I think it's 35 seconds if you have her A1 or higher. So she kind of just like revs up and goes and goes and goes. But for a lot of things, you want to deal damage quickly, and look at the left side compared to the right side. Remember from that gear comparison, it's almost completely and utterly identical. There are those Mithril Bolts. There's an axe. There's a frustrating RNG there. I don't know if you call it RNG, but apparently this guy was farther than these guys, so he went to execute there instead of here. To be fair, one of them wouldn't have been executed. But yeah, you can see the Mithril Bolts. They actually deal okay damage when there's more limited numbers of targets, but when it hits the same target, the Mithril Bolts deal way less damage if it's hitting a new target. So the initial damage from the bolts is like, it's okay. But the extra damage is not good at all. But look how quickly he gets them low, and he's just shredding. Those basic attacks hit so hard. 116 there on those basics. There's the Mithril Shrapnel, and then the frickin' axe is crazy. You can see Nyx there. He wasn't ulting, she was, and kind of a cleanup job. Now he's ulting again, and now he gets the lead, right? So you can see they're very well matched. They deleted at the same time there. Now Nyx is ulting. You can see these numbers. They're both revved up. Nyx has good penetration from her exclusive. Nyx kind of wins that side. And this will be where I call it, because now that new wave is coming in. I guess Nyx did have it on Van Helsing that there were like 2 guys with a sliver left, but you get the picture. It was all covered. So let's look at the damage. It really is what it is. This is a rounding error. Yes, Van Helsing did better, but it's kind of the same. But the main takeaway is he completely keeps up with Nyx, and he deals damage faster and in bigger bursts than Nyx. So especially in other content like a Furious Torrent, or like if you were having trouble, like your gear was like just on the cusp with Nyx for Gear Aid 3, at least until Nyx is very high Awakenings, I am sure Van Helsing will be better. And with higher Awakenings, that'll be something separate to test. But undeniably, he's very strong, and he's a very high potential unit. I hope we all learned something from this guide. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to Behemoth for helping me set up this testing strat and all his general wisdom with this kind of stuff. He's a very good tester, so I appreciate it. If you guys have any follow-up, need to know anything else, let me know in the comments. If you made it to the end of the video, videos like this take a lot of time to make. Memorizing a lot of parts of the kit, prepping the footage, planning the testing, this, that, and the other. Do me a favor and give the video a thumbs up, and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Thank you guys, share with your mother, and I'll see you real soon. Bye.
Fastidious.